What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming live at you, the True Players Podcast. Hitting you up with another episode of the True Players Podcast. This episode is going to be about the New York Mets. What a big turnaround since the All Star break. We thought this team was left for dead. It was about to sell off guards, sell off Zach Wheeler, and boom, all of a sudden, they trade for Marcus Stroman. Um, and from the All Star break, they're 19-6 since the All Star break. They just won 13 out of 14 games, which they swept the today. This afternoon, they just swept the Miami Marlins, winning 7-2 with Steve Matz going 6 and 2/3 innings, walking two people, striking out 7 and 2 earned runs. Um, like I said, the only blip in this 13 out of 14 games was that Mats didn't beat the Pirates the second time around, and that's a problem because that's the key. Steven Matz, for me, Steven Matz is a key pitcher. The pitching itself is going to enable the Mets to possibly make this wild card run and possibly get into the playoffs. Right now, they're 2.5 games out of the second playoff spot, in which Philadelphia and the Nationals are tied for the wild card playing game, which is big news because this team was 11 games under 500 before the All Star break, got on a hot streak. Conforto is starting to hit. They moved him to the second slot in the batting order, and he's starting to hit very well. Alonso, he was slumping a little bit coming out the All Star break. Now he's hitting home runs again. He just hit his 37th today. Jeff McNeil, he's been great the entire season. Also, J.D. Davis, since the injury to Don Smith, he's been taking over in left field, and he's hitting pretty well. He's hot. He's hot with the bat right now. And Ramos has some big hits throughout the streak, which is a good thing for the Mets. Like I said, this team was left for dead before the All Star break. People worried about Mickey Callaway's job. People were questioning Brody Van Wagenen's job as a GM. A lot of question marks, and then just in the matter of 25 games, that thought process has changed dramatically. One important thing that they've been better outings from the bullpen since the All Star break, and truth be told, the top reliever is Seth Lugo. I've always been a big fan of Seth Lugo, and I always wanted him to be back as a starting pitcher. But he has a value and a need right now for this team as a reliever and possible closer. According to Mickey Callaway, after he did an interview today with Evan today on the Fan, he's thinking about doing the closing duties based on matchups, which I think is a good idea because Edwin Diaz is for me, still shaky as a closer for the New York Mets. He's still a bit shaky. I don't trust him. Let's keep the good times rolling. Let's not put him in positions where he may blow a save, or instead of have a quick hook for him in case he starts to struggle early. Have a quick hook for him and bring in Lugo. I understand with Seth Lugo, he has issues with the elbow. He still has that ulnar tear in the elbow. Knock on wood, he's still able to pitch and pitch effectively, and they just have to know how to monitor his pitches and all that stuff for the rest of the season. The one big loss for the New York Mets is Robinson Cano. He's injured. He tore his hamstring a few games back. He may not return. He may not return for the rest of the season. I think he's going to be out for the rest of the season. There's a difference from a strained hamstring than a torn hamstring. When that hamstring is torn, it's going to be a long time for it to heal, reattach to the bone, and all that stuff. And plus, he was starting to hit again. He might be the game that he went out with the injury. He was 3 for 3 and scored 2 runs, so he was getting hot. And it's tough. It's tough to see him go down with an injury after all the struggles he went through early in the season, all the questioning of his hustle and things like that, and he goes down with an injury when the team is about to take off. I don't care what anybody says. This Mets team is about to take off and be the best team right now. Come out the All Star break, they're the best team in the league right now. And let me tell you something. Anybody who has doubt Mets right now, listen, they got to play who's on their schedule. If the team is not as talented as they are, they're supposed to beat them, and that's what they did with the Pirates. That's what they did with the Marlins. That's what they did with the Padres. They went out and beat the teams they're supposed to beat. You can't be mad at them for that. Another thing too, the Mets got Marcus Stroman from the Blue Jays for 2 minor leaguers. according to reports, they were in the top 10 of top prospects of the New York Mets, which you know this trade had to happen, in my opinion. I didn't expect it to happen, but it did happen. I'm glad to see Marcus Stroman is wearing a Met uniform. He's back home. He's originally from Patchogue. Him and Steven Matz competed against each other in high school, so it's a good thing to see two Long Island kids on the same team pitching for the New York Mets, pitching for their hometown. Um, to make that happen, the Mets ended up trading Jason Vargas to the Phillies for a low prospect. I mean, Jason Vargas, he is what he is. He did pitch better this year than he did last year. Yes, he did, but he wasn't a game changer as far as pitching. So the Mets, he was expendable. Plus that situation with the reporter, which he refused to apologize to the reporter after threatening him. He was dead and gone with the Mets. The Mets was just looking to ship him anywhere. So he's with the Phillies now, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. One shocking thing for me is that Todd Frazier was not traded. I thought he would have been traded at the deadline because he's older. Plus, he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, and I don't think the Mets are going to re-sign him. But I thought it was a good idea for them to trade him, but they end up keeping him, and definitely they do need his leadership in that locker room. He does have some good qualities. I know I've been bashing him in previous podcasts about he sucks and things like that, but he does have a definite asset to the locker room and would help the team lead the team into the playoffs with veteran leadership and things like that. You can't discount that at all. Despite how bad he was playing earlier, how bad he struggled, you can't discount that whatsoever. But the thing I'm happy most about is the Mets, Brody Van Wagenen, did not succumb to the pressure of the media. If you listen to my previous podcast, the media was driving him to trade Noah Syndergaard. The media was driving him to trade Zach Wheeler. I'm happy that both of those pitchers are still on the team. I did not agree with the media, such as I'm gonna call out names too. Chris Carlin on the FAN with CNB. He was pushing hard, trade Syndergaard, and nah, you can't trade a pitcher in which you have control over for the next 2 years with his talent. I don't care. I don't care about the minor leagues. You know what you can do with the minor leagues? You could draft better, and you could scout college teams better, scout high school teams, and get that diamond in the rough to fill in that hole. You never know what that diamond in the rough could be. He could be a superstar. He could be a bum. But that's the same as if you were to trade someone in trade. That's the best. That's the same situation you may have with someone you may draft first. If you had that first pick, you're still rolling the dice whether he's going to be a superstar or not a superstar. Makes no difference. For me, if I was a GM, I'm more focused on getting players with potential and then try to develop them in the minor leagues. Development is more important than talent, in my opinion. Talent does help a lot, but if the player has all the talent and he's not being developed properly, that talent is going to waste. So it's best to have coaches and instructors down in the minor leagues who could definitely develop a player to his talents, to his potential. In which I was happy they didn't trade Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard tweeted a skit from a movie that he's not going anywhere. Both of these guys didn't want to leave New York. Zach Wheeler did not want to leave New York, and neither did Noah Syndergaard. Like I said, again, if you listen to my previous podcast, when the rumors was first circulating that the Mets wanted to trade Syndergaard, I told you guys it was a media-driven trade. Didn't come from the front office. Didn't come from anywhere else but the media. And that was a machine they were trying to drive. And I thank God for Brody Van Wagenen for listening to his gut and not trading these guys. But now, what do you do now with them now? Since they're both on the team, what do you do now? Let's start with Zach Wheeler. Do you let Zach Wheeler go at the end of the season? In my opinion, I would offer him the qualifying deal, which is going to be at least $17 million, and then work on a contract extension while he's on that qualifying deal. That's what I would do. The thing is that this is what's going to happen. You're not going to have Frazier's contract on the books for next year. I would definitely try to trade away Jed Lowry because he's been the MVP of the injury list this year. They don't know when he's coming back. So try to trade him, get rid of him, and with Noah, keep developing him. Phil Regan has done a great job with the pitches since they fired Dave Island. He's done a great job with the pitches. I'm kind of worried about he's old school. He's got some many gray hairs. He's 82 years old, so he's straightening out these pitches right now. The bullpen's pitching well. I even seen Familia have a few good outings. Even though they put him in the game where the Mets are about 4 runs. That's the way you ease him back into the high pressure situations. Get him if you get Familia straightened out. I'm telling you that bullpen is going to be exquisite. But you already got Gasol, you got Lugo, and you got Justin Wilson who just came back from injury, who's pitching great too. And if you get Familia and Diaz straightened out, I guarantee you this bullpen will be none to fuck with. I'm saying that right now, none to fuck with. The turnaround, like I said, I think the Marcus Stroman trade was something that boosted this team's morale and made this team play harder. And now they're on a roll right now. Now the true test comes on Friday when Marcus Stroman hits that mound on Citi Field against the Nationals. This is where the Mets need to make some noise right now. They're 3 games over 500. They're 2.5 games out of the wild card spot. It's time for them to make the noise now, and hopefully by the weekend they'll get one of those wild card spots by the weekend. And how they do that? They have to sweep the Nationals. So that's what they have to do: sweep the Nationals, and then go from there. So I'm hoping for a good, well pitched series, and we'll see what happens. But I'm definitely proud of the turnaround of the New York Mets, and we left the media was beating them up, and they were concerned. They thought this team sucked. This team was the worst team in the major leagues, in which they were. They were a bad team prior to the All-Star break, but like I said, they turned it around. But the one thing I want you guys to take caution of, as well as they're playing, any guys who don't like Mickey Callaway as their manager, this gives him new life to remain as Mets manager. And in my opinion, he should not keep his job because of the struggles, not just the struggles of earlier this year, and last year also. And so that's something that raises a red flag. And for me, you sign up for another year and then they start off to get off to a slow start, and we're back at this shit all over again. You don't want that. So that's what I feel that the Mets should go on with a new manager. Joe Girardi is still available. Take a look at him and go from there. And now I'm gonna go into briefly into the NFL preseason right now with the Jets in the first game of the preseason, which is rare because these guys, the Jets and Giants, usually play on the third game of the preseason. This must be something new. But here's the few keys that I want to look upon from both teams. As far as the Giants goes, I want to see the improvement of the offensive line and how the offense operates without Odell Beckham Jr. And also the defense improvements with the addition of Jabril Peppers and others in the second year of the 3-4 defense. I want this team to definitely develop into a better defensive team, because a lot of games they lost last year is because the defense didn't hold leads. They blew a lot of leads. And I want to see how Eli is in the preseason. I don't think he's going to play much this game. I think Daniel Jones will get the bulk of the playing time with the Giant offense for most of the preseason, because Gettleman is putting his job on the line for Daniel Jones. He drafted him at the 6th round with the 6th pick, which I believe he should have drafted him later in the 17th pick, but he knows better. So also I'm going to touch on the Jets. The Jets, the keys is I want to see Sam Darnold's progression. How does he fit with the Adam Gase offense and things like that? I want to see Quincy Enunwa. I need all the receivers to come out of the preseason healthy, no injuries whatsoever. And also, I want to see how the offense looks with the new offensive line. They just signed Khalil out of retirement from the Carolina Panthers. They got their new center. They signed another cornerback from the Eagles, and I like how the team. I like how the team is being developed right now under Joe Douglas and Adam Gase. Like I said on previous podcasts, I don't like the hierarchy in which the coach has a direct path to the owner, and the GM has a separate path to the owner as well. I don't like that at all. So we'll see what happens. And also, I'm anxious to see how much playing time Le'Veon gets. He hasn't played in a year. I hope he gets a little bit of playing time, but keep him safe also. Keep him safe. He comes out that the preseason game without an injury. All right. So guys, listen, I'm going to end this podcast right now. If you have any questions, any feedback, hit me up on True Players Podcast, TRUPLAYAZ at gmail.com, True Players Podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Joey G Radio, Breaker Podcast, and SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Definitely will hit you guys with another episode real soon. I'll hit you guys later. Peace.